Am I the asshole for walking out with my girls when my mill excluded them from family photo album? I'm 36, mother of 2 girls 9/5. I met my now fiancé 2.5 years ago. He's a good man, treats my girls well and loves them. Future mother-in-law is a generous lady, truth be told. His family are respectful and helpful. We visit them a lot. After we got engaged I pretty much considered this my extended family. However, my mother-in-law tends to do things that either intentionally or unintentionally hurt my feelings. For example, when there's a family dinner at a restaurant we're not invited. On Christmas my girls didn't receive anything from her while other kids in the family got gifts and cards. Also, all the kids in the family get a trip once a month but my girls never participate. Mother-in-law excuses were, I forgot, this week. My future mother-in-law was doing family photo album and was gathering family pictures from everyone. Sil and her kids, brother-in-law and his kids, and so on. She called and asked if I could send her some pictures. I thought that was nice of her. I sent them pretty much after my call with her ended. We were invited to her house. The entire family was there to look at the photo album because it was complete. We took turns to look at it. And when it was mine and my girl's turn I was stunned. Turned out she picked the pictures that had just me and her son. Not my girls. Although we took a ton of pictures. The 4 of us, my girls, were excited wanting to see the album, then asked why their pictures weren't there. I didn't even wanna think about how they'd feel. I was caught off guard, otherwise I wouldn't have let them look at the album. I asked Mill why she excluded my girls and she didn't even reply, she just ignored me. My fiancé stared at me. I felt awful. I got up, took my girls and walked out immediately. Everyone was confused. My fiancé followed us, then we left. At home he told me that I really shouldn't have walked out before dinner and should have just ignored this whole thing because, who cares about a stupid photo album? I told him it's a symbol of family. The girls felt left out when all the kids' pictures were there except for the girls, although I sent her pics of 4 of us as a family. He said his mom didn't mean it and promised that this will change once we get married and said he'll get everyone in line, so I shouldn't even consider this a problem. And that my girls are the light of his life and that's the only thing that matters. And that I was overreacting over a photo album. Mother-in-law called and was upset, saying me walking out like that was disrespectful to the entire family. When I told her about what she did, she bluntly said, I don't wanna lie to people, those girls don't relate to me in any way. She said she loves them, treat them well. We'll host their birthdays, if I want, but she won't call them family. I argued with her over this and I hung up on her since she didn't think she did anything wrong. Was I in the wrong? Did I overreact? Hoo boy. Not the asshole. Pro tip. Don't marry this man. Their behavior now won't change once you're married. Nothing will be different. Your girls will be excluded like this by his family forever. Not the asshole, but your fiancé will not have your back, and the treatment your daughters are getting now will only continue. I was in your daughter's shoes when I was a kid and my dad was getting remarried, and thankfully we were accepted into the family events, photos, etc. by the time my dad was engaged to my stepmom. Not the asshole. The real issue here is your fiancé's lack of a spine to stand up to his mother. That will probably never change, so you're walking into this coming marriage with your eyes wide open. If you marry this man, this will be your constant reality. Your daughters will continue to get ignored, and you will be pushed out of events. Cut your losses and flee this toxic relationship. Not the asshole. Your priority is your daughters, and it is your obligation as their mother to stand by and up for them and protect them from anybody who is hurting them, physically or emotionally. It's exceptionally cruel to exclude children so young from gifts, trips, etc. Your fiancé needs to speak to his mother because it's unfair to subject you and your children to that treatment the rest of your lives. You're either family or not. Not the asshole, and I strongly suggest going no contact with your in-laws until there is a promise of better behavior and an apology. What a cruel and entirely unnecessary thing to do to you and your young children. This woman has not been forgetting your girls, she's been deliberately excluding them. It's completely enraging. Your fiancé needs to step up and draw some really hard lines with his mother, and it needs to happen before the wedding. Not the asshole. Do not marry into that family. He needs to get his mother straight before the wedding, and if he can't, then he needs to stay in solidarity with you and stop going to their events. Or don't marry him. Your daughters should never feel less than. Info. I'm guessing Mill hasn't built a relationship with your daughters. How much do your kids hang out with her? I'm probably going to get downvoted for this, but familial bonds don't just magically appear and she's not obligated to spend money on your children. Purposely excluding them from the picture book is kinda shitty when you were included as well. If you really marry into the family, she's gotta learn at some point that your children will be part of the family as well, and your fiancé should absolutely make it clear to her now before you get married. Not the asshole. And if you think this is a headache now, buckle up for the thrill ride when you have a biological child with her son. Info: have you talked to your fiancé about this before? How long have his family known you and your girls? To be honest, I kinda get her point. Have you given her a chance to bond with them? I don't have kids myself, but I understand that you're upset that your kids are excluded. But they have their own grandparents to include them in everything and spoil them. I wouldn't expect their step-grandparents to include them in everything they include their grandkids. I think it's more important how your fiancé treats them. Do you think he would treat them differently than any bio kids you might have? Nah. But maybe I'm wrong. IDK, a lot of people feel very strongly grandma sucks. I am surprised by the comments on this post. I am a stepdaughter. My dad started living with his now wife when I was 10. Married her when I was 12. I certainly didn't think my stepmother's mom was my grandmother before they were married. I didn't even consider my stepmother to be my stepmother before they were married. And I liked her just fine. But she was my dad's girlfriend. That was it. Her mom was my dad's girlfriend's mom. Not getting them cards or gifts for Christmas is shitty. Every kid who is at one of my family's gatherings gets at least a gift card. Even if it's a neighbor's exchange student. But you are not yet her family. Not the asshole. Are you sure you want to bring them into a group of people who has already said will make them feel like they do not in any way belong? She did what she did intentionally, and if your boyfriend is not standing up to her now, he will not in the future. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and your girls deserve better. Not the asshole. She's intentionally excluding your girls and doesn't care that it hurts them. Screw her. Good on you for standing up to her. If your fiancé can't see that and won't back you and the girls up, I would leave him, if I were you. You are subjecting your girls to a lifetime of pain and feeling like they aren't good enough. This is one of my fears dating as a single mom. If it was my son, my partner backing up his mother in a situation like this would be my hill to die in. Not the asshole. This is not going to get better after you get married. This is how your mother-in-law is going to behave toward your daughters. And this is how your fiancé is going to handle it. You have a very tough choice in front of you. If you marry this man, your daughters will spend the rest of their childhood being treated like second-class citizens. And your husband won't care. Please rethink this relationship. No assholes here. Just because you are marrying her son, she doesn't have to accept another man's daughters. Your fiancé sort of does, by proxy of marrying you, but his family is not your daughter's family. They are their step-family, presumably they already have two sets of families. Your family and their biological father's family. I would be much more upset about their biological father's family being absent than their stepfather's family being distant. You are the asshole. You aren't even married. Nah. Your feelings are perfectly valid, but she's only known you 2 years and probably knows them less. If she isn't comfortable treating them as family yet, that's her decision. Not the asshole. Your girls are old enough to understand they're being excluded and be hurt by it. It's stunning that your future mill is cold-hearted enough to hurt 2 young girls like that, and it's troubling that your fiancé is asking you to tolerate it. This is the time to take a stand for your daughters, and hopefully, your fiancé will stand with you. In my opinion, your girls aren't related to her and she shouldn't have to include them in a family album or treat them like she does her biological grandkids. I assume your children have grandparents already, and it should be pretty easy to explain to them the difference. I understand wanting them to feel like family, but the fact is they aren't. She treats them well and cares for them. Why do you need her to do more than that? You have only been together for 2.5 years and you aren't married. If she makes an album and you two don't work out in a year, she is stuck with awkward pictures in a family album of people who were never family. YTA, in my opinion, for expecting way too much. I've always heard when a spouse or significant other allows people to treat you badly, it's condoning it, and almost agreeing with the action's sentiments. Your fiancé is condoning this behavior by doing nothing. Actions speak louder than words. I question if he actually likes your kids at all. Not the asshole. Don't just think of leaving. Do it. Your daughters shouldn't have to suffer because you were worried about being an ass for breaking up with a mama's boy who has no spine. Info. Do your girls consider your husband's parents as grandmother and grandfather? And do you know why she didn't ask your husband pictures instead of you? You are the asshole. Why do you expect her to treat your kids, who are yours and some rondo other blokes, as part of her family? Get a grip honestly. Not the asshole. She did it on purpose. Not the asshole. This is going to be a problem in your relationship with your fiancé if he does not put a stop to it now. Don't plan a wedding while his mother is acting like this and he is not backing you up. It's favoritism and the kids are seeing it. Not the asshole. If they are the light of his life, he will fight for them, their feelings, and their well-being. Putting you in this situation, asking you to tolerate it, and not fighting for common decency is abhorrent. He may not be able to control his mother's opinions, but he can make a reasonable effort to shield you all from them. Not the asshole. You get to have your dealbreakers as far as relationships go, and it's not assholish to want a relationship that is like family rather than distinguishing steps. But you can't force them to actually think of your daughters as family. That's out of your control, and I would not for a second believe your fiancé's claim that things will straighten out after the wedding. What you see now is what you are getting. I think it's reasonable to say, no thank you, and call it off. If you move forward though, you can't say they didn't warn you. Pretty obvious that they don't think your kids are family and won't include them like they are unless someone twists their arm. Not the asshole, and you did not overreact. Your future mill is beyond rude for not including your girls in all the things done with for other family members. This is 2021, not 1821 FFS. Families come in all shapes, sizes and colors. I'll predict that this behavior will not change once you are married. Not the asshole. Your kids are now extended family and it's not right for future mill to exclude them. She seems hung on thinking family means blood family, and some people are like that, but she needs to understand that you and your kids are a package deal now that you are in her son's life, and if she insists on excluding them, then she may end up excluding her son too. Not the asshole. Please don't subject your daughters to this. It doesn't matter what your fiancé says about how he feels about them, it matters what he demonstrates. And what he's demonstrating right now is that mommy dearest's feelings are more important than anyone else's. If he doesn't stand up for you and the girls immediately, it should be a relationship deal breaker. Do not marry this man and wait to see what happens. Not the asshole, but your fiancé is never going to stand up to his mother on this issue. If he was the type of man to stand up for you, this situation would have definitely caused a stronger response from him. He is content to allow his mom to treat your daughters as non-family. You need to decide if you can live with this. Not the asshole in the biggest possible way, and your husband needs to lose the excuses for his mom's intentional attempts to other your kids. You did the right thing. It's gross how blatant her favoritism is, tbh. She knows what she's doing. Protect those babies from her at all costs. Not the asshole. I am so sorry. Mill has no damn soul. Your fiancé has to put on his big boy pants now, before you marry him. Not the asshole. It's fairly obvious that your mother-in-law doesn't consider your girls her family. And to a degree, that's okay, she doesn't have to. They're not related to her. If she doesn't consider them her grandchildren, then that's just how it is. What she absolutely cannot be allowed to do is to leave them out of things in obvious ways like this. If she wants a photo album without your kids in it, that's her business, but presenting it in front of everyone, including your girls, is just cruel. Maybe it will be better after you're married. Maybe part of the problem here is that she doesn't feel you've fully signed on to the family. But she needs to be told to be more careful with her behavior, out of respect for her own son's choices if nothing else. NTA, but he should have put a stop to this now. This is not good for your children. So much not the asshole. It really surprises me how far people will go to make a point. To willingly exclude pictures of children is to deny their existence to the rest of the family. Your fiancé isn't just marrying you, he's also going to become a father to your girls. To not accept this is simply cruel. Nah. I understand why you are upset, but this is a future mother-in-law. You haven't married your fiancé, you technically aren't part of the family yet, and I assume Mill still thinks of you that way. She has no biological connection to your children, and most people would need to see more of a commitment before thinking of you all as part of that family. Where she may be wrong though is by saying, "I forgot," instead of telling you how she actually feels. By the way, your children have another grandmother already, their biological father's mother. Everyone sucks here, the mother, your fiancé, and you for putting your girls through years of this mistreatment and not putting your foot down sooner. Your fiancé is equally to blame for this inequality. You've swallowed his excuses and focused on his mother as the villain. He's complicit. You've become complicit too, because by now you know exactly what to expect and exactly what will happen every holiday and every month, and you've allowed it by not issuing ultimatums sooner. It's past time to call on your spineless fiancé to stand unified with you against his mother. If he won't, put your kids first and end this engagement. Not the asshole. You could easily plan a family vacation somewhere, get a hotel, plane tickets, let your family know. On the big day bags are packed, you and the girls pack the car and the fiancé head to the airport. So nice of you to drop us off, baby, huh? Yay, dropping me and the girls off for our family vacation. Wait, did you think you were part of our family? Not the asshole. But honestly, this will be unpopular. It seems like you think your mill is obliged to buy your kids gifts etc. and act like she has some sort of bond for them, and I don't agree with this. Yes, her purposely excluding them from the album is an asshole move, but you seem to be expecting much more than this. Sure, it would be nice if she did try to accept your children into the family, but it's wrong if you're just outright expecting it and getting all huffy when it's not happening. Not the asshole. I get why you are hurt. But right now you aren't actually married to this fellow. You are basically dating in a relationship. So these are his GF's children, indeed not actually related to his mother. When you get married, then they are related to her. But how does she ever know you will actually get married? Do you have a wedding date set? How long have you been engaged? I've just known some couples who are engaged for 9 years and never will actually get married. For all his mom knows, you could break up and then she will never see your kids again. So I kind of get her side of things. But your and your kids' feelings are hurt too, so that sucks. I'm sure I will get downvoted. I just see both sides. Nope. None of this was accidental. You don't forget about the children of your child's spouse. This is incredibly hurtful. These folks, including your partner, are showing you who they are. You should listen to them. If signing legal paperwork is what it takes for them to treat you and your children differently, then what else is conditional about them? You are the advocate for your children, and you get to decide who is involved in your children's lives. Pick better people. No assholes here. You're fine to be upset, but she's only known your kids for a few years and it's not quite the same. My dad's partner gets really pissed that I don't treat her son like my brother because they've been together for 3 years, but in my mind he's not my brother. He's fine, and I'm not unpleasant to him or anything, I just don't treat him how I treat my brother. Not the asshole. And your fiancé is so a part of the problem. It will change when you are married? What? Why will it magically change then? Why can't he stand up to his mother and defend his daughters now? It doesn't sound like he has any intention of doing so. FMIL admitted your kids will never be family. If fiancé won't fix this immediately, I would reconsider marriage. A bit tall. The guy seems okay. Perhaps the not yet mill doesn't trust your relationship and looks at you as only provisionally in the family. It might turn out well if you get the ring. You are the asshole. So, unpopular opinion, but I think you're trying to force other people's affection for your children. Your mill is not entirely blameless, but unless I have had a previous relationship with children, I don't really like them either. So I get her pav. Not the asshole. I had a similar experience as a child, where I was related to my grandfather but not his wife, who called herself my grandmother. Yet we were excluded from everything, or invited for the bare minimum. Many years later, and I'm still working to get over such issues it caused me. Your kids won't forget this, but not will they forget you standing up for them. They are your priority and they not you deserve to be treated as a second thought. It'll be even worse if you have a child with your fiancé. It would be more in their face about how different they are treated. You were in the right to storm out and be angry. Not the asshole, but you need to pay attention to your partner's behavior now. If things were really going to change, that would be starting now. All these problems won't go away if you get married, especially if you give him real children. He's all talk, because if he actually cared about your daughters the way he says, then he wouldn't allow his family to be treating them like that at all. Not the asshole. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but but the mill is technically correct in saying that the kids have no relation to her. At the moment, until you guys are married and the husband adopts your daughters as his own, there isn't any blood link or legal link that would make the connection. Either way, the way the mill said it is very insensitive, and it's valid for you to feel left out and not a part of that family. Maybe a step that can be taken is to lay everything out on the table with the mill. Tell her that even though you are not officially married to her son yet, you feel and treat her as your family already, and it hurts when the mill doesn't do the same or feel the same way. Don't marry someone who won't fully stand up for your children. And #X200B. ETA. Not the asshole, but you will be if you stay and let this treatment from his mom and your fiancé continue, because him not standing up for them and then telling you it's not a big deal is a very big fucking deal. Not the asshole. Your fiancé and his mother are absolutely the asshole here. If your fiancé won't stand up for you and your kids now, he never will. This is a preview of how your future spouse will manage this issue. Your mill will not change.